Welcome back to my channel, everybody. Sweet Tips here. The jeweler handed me a bag of his scrap. So now what we'll do is pour all these bags out in here. That's some teeth. This is sweeps from his drawer. I'm just going to empty it out into the container. There's some more sweeps from the drawer. And here's some carrot stuff that he's got set aside. Got most of this stuff sorted out. This is all the magnetic junk here. And I'll give that back to him, let him know what he's got as far as junk. Let him sort through that. And we'll just put this all right back into the main group of solids that we're refining. Alright, this is the bag of carrot stuff that he gave me. This, I don't know what that is. I guess we'll burn this. And this all looks like carrot stuff. I'll have to sort through this and see what's going to be carrot, and then we'll add it to the carrot stuff that we picked out of the sweeps from his drawer and then quart this. I'm transferring the material that he's given me into a melt dish, and what we'll do is take this out and put it in the furnace and burn it. Take this out, put it in the furnace, and burn it. I've got the temperature up there to 1500 Fahrenheit, about 800 Celsius. It's been in there for about half an hour, and we're red hot in here now. Got our material burnt down. I'm going to turn the furnace off and go in and let this cool off. I've allowed this to cool completely. Let's see what we got here. Let's get some of this material in the melt dish into this strainer. Put it back down into the melt dish. And we'll keep grinding it up until we get as much of this material through the strainer as possible. I will spend some more time picking through this and getting these pieces of gold and silver out of here. I've been through this over and over now, and I've got pretty much all the little bits of metal out of here. So what we'll do is we'll take this out and grind it up some more and try to get all that we can to pass through that fine mesh strainer out over that beaker. What we got left in here now is just little bits of metal and some powder. So we're going to put that in our screen. And what I'll do, this is just pieces of metal now. I'm going to throw this in with our carat scrap now. Here's our solids that we've incinerated and pushed through that screen. It's in a finely divided state down in there. So now what we're going to do is I'm adding some distilled water to this. I'm adding some nitric acid. We're going to see if we can pull the silver out of there with some nitric acid. Here we go. Add it slow because I don't know how this is going to react. Now we'll cover this up and put it over here up on the heat and let this react for a while. While that's reacting, we'll take our carat scrap and our silver in here and we'll get ready to inquart this so we can part it with nitric acid. Let's get a weight on the carat gold. I'm just going to add it right to this melt dish now. Looks like we got 49.6 grams. We've got 49.6 grams of carat gold here. I'm calling it 12K. That means we've got 24.8 grams of pure gold in here. So I need an alloy that's 3 parts gold, no, 3 parts silver and 1 part gold. There's 24.8 grams of base metals and silver in here as well. So I got to subtract that from the amount of sterling silver that I need to quart this gold. And I get a number of 49.6 grams of sterling silver to properly quart this gold. I've determined I need 49.6 grams of sterling. Here's the sterling from the jeweler's scrap. I'm going to add this right in. And that gives us 21.7. Here's a silver bracelet. We'll add this in. We've got 48.5. That's close enough. Let's go out and quart this gold now. Now we'll get the unquarted gold in a beaker and start pulling the silver and base metals out of there with nitric acid. Here's our unquarted gold. And what we'll do now is put a little distilled water on it. And then follow that up with some nitric acid. We're going to start pulling the silver and the base metals out of here with hot dilute nitric acid boils. I've added more nitric to those solids. It's been on boiling now for several hours. All the fumes have cleared up in our unquarted gold, and it's not looking right, which is par for the course for jeweler's scrap. Jeweler's scrap has stuff in it that makes the refining difficult. I'm going to take this down and look and see what we got in here. There's some unusual looking, pasty looking stuff down in here. Not quite sure what that is. Oh, but the gold don't look too bad though, thankfully. Who knows what that is? Like I said, this is jeweler's scrap. He works on all kinds of stuff in his shop, and he's not careful about keeping things sorted out. He just throws everything together and then hands me the bag. and then it's up to me to get it all sorted out. If you look down in here, it's got some green junk in here. Probably some kind of copper compound, or it might be that green buffing compound that he uses. I'm going to add a little bit of distilled water. Alright, let's put this back. It's got some water in it. I'm going to put this back up on the heat. Now I'm going to douse a little bit of nitric in there. We'll cover this up and let this continue to react. I think this is done over here. I'm going to pull this down off of this burner and let this cool off. I'll add a little bit of distilled water to this to cool it down. Ouch. Steam. To cool it down and to dilute it. This is a look at the solids down on the bottom of that beaker. It's looking pretty good, actually. I hit that with nitric and tried to remove all the junk out of there that I could with nitric acid. Now what we're going to do is add this second nitric boil to our silver jar down here. Alright, that's looking pretty good now. Thankfully, that's going to work out, I think. Alright, let me take this and rinse this out a little bit. It's actually looking pretty good. I was kind of discouraged at first when I seen this. It's looking pretty good now. Let me get some distilled water back on there. Put it back up on the heat back here. I'm going to add some nitric acid. This will be the third nitric acid boil on this Inquarted Gold for the jeweler. This has been boiling for about 15 minutes. And what we'll do now is we're going to pour off this third nitric boil. It's looking pretty good. Let me rinse this out a little bit. Add a little bit more distilled water. I'm going to set it back up on the heat. Adding some more nitric. This will be nitric boil number 4. This is our 4th nitric boil. What I'm going to do now is add a little bit more sterling silver that I've burnt to my silver jar. Now what we'll do is pour off this 4th nitric acid boil into my silver jar. measurements. It's starting to look better. If you notice, the color of the nitric, the blue color, is very pale, which tells me that I'm getting close to having all the copper and silver pulled out of there. A little distilled water here. Back up on the heat. Okay, what we're gonna do now is add some nitric acid in here and do a fifth nitric acid boil. Let's go ahead and I've got another piece of sterling here that needs to go into our silver jar, because I'm going to have a whole bunch of extra nitric in here. See, our solution is still very blue looking, so that means we're still pulling copper. If we're still pulling copper, chances are good that we're still pulling some silver out of there as well. So now we're going to pour off this, what is this, the fifth nitric acid boil. Some water. Set it back up on the heat. I'm going to add some more nitric acid, and this will be nitric boil number 6. Our 6th nitric boil is complete. Still got a little tint of blue going on down in there. We're going to pour this off now down into our silver jar. Oh yeah, that's hot nitric hitting sterling silver. We're going to go ahead and put this into a crucible and melt it up just like it is. I've had the gold soaking up here in some water. I'm going to pour this off now. And then we're going to try to get our chunks of gold down into this melt dish. Let's take this over here now and put it on the melt table. And we're going to melt this into a button so I can get the jeweler paid. Here's the gold button that we just melted up. I wanted to get this done, so I didn't refine it. It's going to need to be refined further. We'll do that in another video. But the jeweler gave me this stuff a week and a half ago, and he's been asking about it. That's one of the reasons I really don't like refining other people's material, because then it becomes a, it's just pressure. Let's see what we got here. We got 27.3. I think we were expecting 28.4, so we called that one fairly closely. And I want to get the video posted for the holiday. Over here we've got our solids that we've treated with nitric acid, and what we'll do is we'll work on this then in part 2, and this will conclude part 1 of the jeweler's drawer sweeps recovery and refining video. Thank you for watching.